want to speak today about something many of us desire but often do not fully understand: the favor of God. God's favor is not a mere wish or hope. It is a divine empowerment, a blessing that carries with it purpose and abundance. It is the unique grace that God places upon his people, propelling them to success and guiding them through life's challenges. Recognizing God's favor, recognizing favor in our lives is crucial, because how can we appreciate something we do not see? Favor doesn't always look the way we expect it. It may come quietly, unexpectedly, but it always carries the weight of divine purpose. When you begin to recognize God's favor, you open yourself to receive more of it. And you'll see supernatural opportunities. The first sign of God's favor is the presence of supernatural opportunities. These are doors that open when they shouldn't. They're chances that come at the right time in the right place, and they move you toward your purpose. You didn't make it happen, but somehow you're standing in front of an open door. That's God's favor at work in your life. Uncommon connections. The second sign of God's favor is the people he brings into your life. These are individuals who will bless you, mentor you, and open doors for you. You'll find that the right connections show up at the right time. People who seem to understand your calling, who push you forward in ways that seem divinely orchestrated. Relationships are key to favor, because God often uses people to move you closer to his plan for your life. Favor in times of trouble. The third sign of favor is when you experience blessings during times of adversity. When everything around you seems to be falling apart and yet things still work out. You face difficulties, but somehow you come out better than you were before. That is the favor of God working through your challenges. His favor does not guarantee you won't face trouble. It guarantees that trouble won't have the final say. Unusual protection. The fourth sign is the protection that surrounds you in ways that you cannot explain. You will find yourself kept safe even when circumstances suggest you should have been harmed. God's favor shields you from dangers, disappointments, and setbacks in ways that only he can orchestrate. You might not even be aware of the near misses in your life, but God's protection is always at work. Unexpected provision. The fifth sign of God's favor is provision that comes from unexpected places. You will experience times when your needs are met in ways that seem impossible, when the resources you need appear at just the right moment. This is God's favor providing for you, confirming that he is a God who sees your needs and provides for them. The sixth sign, a sense of peace and assurance. Finally, the sixth sign of God's favor is the peace and assurance you feel in your heart. Even in the midst of uncertainty, you know deep down that God is with you, that his favor is resting upon you, and that everything is working together for your good. This peace that surpasses all understanding is a tangible reminder of the favor that God is showering upon you. So I encourage you today to look for these signs of favor in your life. Open your eyes and your heart to the opportunities, connections, protection, provision, and peace that God is bringing your way. Recognize his favor. Respond with gratitude and walk boldly in the blessings he has prepared for you. Favor is not a one-time event. It is a continual flow of divine grace that leads you toward the abundant life God has destined for you. God's favor is one of the most powerful and transformative forces in the life of a believer. It's the divine grace and blessing that empowers you to achieve things that would otherwise be impossible. When God favors you, it's more than just luck or chance. It's the hand of God moving in your life, aligning circumstances opening doors, and orchestrating events in your favor. But favor is not something we can control or manipulate. It's something we must be open to receiving. And that openness begins with understanding what it truly is. Favor is a divine privilege, not something that is earned through works or personal achievements. It's a gift, an act of grace that reflects God's love and desire to see you flourish in every area of your life. Often people mistakenly believe that favor is reserved only for the extraordinary or the most righteous among us. But in truth, God's favor isn't about being perfect. It's about positioning yourself in a place where you can receive his blessings through faith, obedience, and a heart that is aligned with his will. God's favor is not just about material blessings or success, though those can be part of it. It's a deeper spiritual favor that moves you in ways that propel you toward your purpose, helps you overcome obstacles, and provides strength in moments of weakness. It gives you access to opportunities that are beyond your ability or control and connects you to the right people at the right time. It's a favor that comes with peace, assurance, and the confidence to step into what God has destined for you, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. When you begin to recognize God's favor in your life, you start to understand that it's not random. It's not something that happens by accident. Favor is deliberate. It is God actively at work, moving you forward, even when it feels like things aren't going according to plan. It is through his favor that you can accomplish more than you ever could on your own. It is a partnership, God in his grace working alongside you to fulfill his purpose for your life. God in his grace working alongside you to fulfill his purpose for your life. Recognizing favor means seeing those little signs of divine intervention, those moments where things just seem to work out, or where you feel protected in ways you can't explain. It's about realizing that you are not in this journey alone. God's favor is a constant companion, guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward the future he has prepared for you. When you begin to understand the power of God's favor, it shifts your perspective on life. No longer will you see your struggles as obstacles. Instead, you will see them as opportunities for God to show his favor in the most powerful ways. Recognizing God's favor in your life is one of the most important steps you can take toward living in alignment with your purpose. So often we move through life focused on the challenges, the setbacks, and the things we still haven't achieved. We overlook the subtle signs of God's favor that are present in our daily lives. But when we begin to recognize his favor, when you recognize favor, you understand that there is a purpose behind every opportunity, every blessing, and every connection in your life. You begin to see that nothing is by accident. Those moments of unexpected help, those doors that open when you least expected it, or the times when you faced trouble and somehow found peace. Those are not coincidences, they are signs of divine favor working in your life. By recognizing these moments, you can more fully appreciate the ways in which God is actively guiding you toward your purpose. Recognizing God's favor also helps you maintain a posture of gratitude. When you are aware of the favor God has bestowed upon you, it compels you to thank him for the blessings you may have taken for granted. Gratitude is a powerful force. It cultivates an environment in your life where more favor can flow. The more you recognize and appreciate the favor God is already showing you, the more favor you make room for in your life. Recognizing God's favor builds your faith. It allows you to see his hand in the seemingly small details of life and strengthens your trust in his plan. The more you see how God's favor is at work, the more confident you become in his ability to lead you through challenges, provide for you in times of need, and guide you toward the future he has prepared. It allows you to step forward in faith, knowing that you're not walking alone, but that you're walking with divine favor upon your life. It also empowers you to keep moving forward even in the face of adversity. When you recognize the favor of God, it gives you the strength to press on when things aren't going as planned. You know that favor doesn't always look like success in the conventional sense. Sometimes it looks like peace in the storm, strength in weakness, and courage in the face of fear. Recognizing favor helps you see the bigger picture, one that transcends the challenges you might be facing at the moment. Recognizing God's favor helps you understand that you are not just favored for your own sake, but for a greater purpose. His favor isn't just for your benefit, it's for the advancement of his kingdom. When you see that favor is not about you alone, it shifts the way you live. You begin to live with a greater sense of responsibility to steward the blessings and opportunities that come your way, knowing that God has equipped you for something bigger than yourself. In recognizing his favor, you align yourself with his divine timing and purpose. You begin to walk through life with a deeper sense of purpose, direction, and peace, knowing that God's favor is constantly at work in you, through you, and for you. Favor is often misunderstood as something that must be earned, something that requires us to do enough good deeds or live up to certain standards to merit it. But God's favor doesn't operate on the basis of our performance or personal merit. It is a gift, freely given, and cannot be earned through our own efforts. This understanding is crucial because it shifts our focus from striving and earning to receiving and resting in God's grace. We live in a world that values hard work and achievement, where we are conditioned to believe that anything worth having must be earned. So it's easy to carry this mindset over into our relationship with God. We might feel as though we need to prove ourselves worthy of his favor, that if we just work a little harder or become better in some way, God will favor us more. But that's not how God's favor works. His favor is not contingent on our perfection or our ability to check off the right boxes. Instead, it is a reflection of his love and grace toward us, given freely, not based on anything we've done, but on who he is. This is where faith comes in. We cannot earn God's favor through our own strength or by trying to meet impossible standards. Favor is about trusting that God, in his infinite wisdom and love, has already extended it to us. It's about believing that, despite our imperfections, God has chosen to bless us, equip us, and empower us for the tasks ahead. Favor is a divine decision made by a loving God, not something we can work for or deserve in the traditional sense. When we understand that favor is received and not earned, it allows us to approach life with a posture of humility and gratitude. We no longer have to feel the weight of striving, constantly trying to prove ourselves. Instead, we are invited to rest in God's favor, knowing that it's already been extended to us. We simply need to receive it. This shift in mindset is liberating because it frees us from the bondage of performance-based thinking and opens up space for us to walk in the confidence that God is with us, guiding us, and providing for us, not because of our goodness, but because of his. Receiving favor means positioning ourselves to accept it with a heart of faith. We trust that God knows what we need and when we need it, and that his favor will show up in the moments that matter most. It's not about striving to earn God's love or favor. It's about surrendering to his will and opening ourselves to receive the good gifts he is ready to give. This understanding of favor leads to a deeper connection with God, one that is rooted in trust and gratitude, not in performance or perfection. It encourages us to live not in fear of falling short, but in the peace that comes from knowing that God's favor is already upon us, resting in the truth that we are already enough because of him. Faith and obedience are the bedrock upon which God's favor rests. These two principles, intertwined and inseparable, form the foundation that allows us to fully experience and walk in the favor that God has for us. Faith opens the door, while obedience ensures that we walk through it and stay on the path that leads to the fullness of his blessings. Pray. Faith is more than just believing in God. It's trusting in his promises and his character. It's about knowing that God is good, that his word is true, and that he will do exactly what he says he will do. Faith is the lens through which we view life and the confidence that even in moments of uncertainty, we are in God's hands. Without faith, we cannot access his favor, because faith is the vehicle that enables us to believe in what we cannot yet see. It enables us to step out when the path seems unclear, knowing that God has already prepared a way. Obedience is the natural expression of true faith. It's one thing to believe God's promises, but it's another thing entirely to align our actions with that belief. Obedience means living according to God's will, even when it's difficult or counter to our natural desires. It's about submitting to God's guidance, trusting that his instructions are always for our good, even when we don't fully understand them. Obedience is a declaration that we trust God more than we trust our own wisdom or understanding. It is a willingness to say yes to his plan even when it doesn't make sense, and to move forward with the confidence that he will lead us in the right direction. Faith and obedience together create a dynamic that invites God's favor into our lives. When we have faith in God's promises, we open ourselves to his favor. But it's when we obey his instructions that favor is activated and manifested. Think of it as a partnership. God has a plan. He has blessings waiting for us. And it's our faith that believes in those blessings, while our obedience takes the necessary steps to receive them. Without one, the other is incomplete. For example, when we act in obedience, even in small things, we demonstrate to God that we trust him enough to follow his direction. This trust is what pleases God and opens the floodgates of favor. Sometimes the favor that we desire is right around the corner, but it is our obedience that will take us from where we are to where God has already prepared to bless us. Without obedience, even the most powerful faith can be wasted, because faith without works is dead. God has given us instructions, opportunities, and guidance, and it is through our obedience that we step into the fullness of his promises. Obedience is not always easy. It requires sacrifice, sometimes discomfort, and often stepping out of our comfort zones. But it is through obedience that we grow in our faith and experience the depth of God's favor. When we follow God's lead, even when it's challenging or doesn't make sense to us, we create an environment where his favor can thrive. Each step of obedience opens the door for more favor to flow into our lives. In this journey of faith, it's important to remember that God's favor is not just about the destination, but about the process. The favor we receive from God often comes through our obedience. And the deeper we walk in obedience, the more favor we will experience. Through faith and obedience, we align ourselves with God's perfect plan and allow his favor to propel us forward in ways we never could have imagined. One of the most undeniable signs of God's favor is the presence of supernatural opportunities. These are the moments when doors open that you never expected to be there, or when situations unfold in ways that seem almost too perfect to be coincidental. They are divine interventions orchestrated by God to push you forward on the path of your purpose. Supernatural opportunities are not just regular opportunities that happen because of hard work or planning. They are opportunities that arise in unexpected ways and at the exact right moment, often beyond your ability to make them happen. These opportunities might show up as job offers that seem tailor-made for your skill set, relationships that come into your life just when you need them most, or financial blessings that arrive when you're facing a need you can't solve on your own. They might come in the form of an open door that you didn't even know was possible, a person who steps into your life at the perfect time, or a breakthrough that feels like it came out of nowhere. What makes these opportunities supernatural is the unmistakable sense that it's not just by chance, but that God is at work behind the scenes, moving things around in your favor. It's important to recognize that these opportunities may not always come in the way we expect or in the form we desire. Sometimes a supernatural opportunity might be disguised as a challenge or a setback. It might be a difficult decision, a seemingly random event, or a situation that at first glance feels like an obstacle. But as you move forward in faith and obedience, you begin to see that these opportunities are actually God's way of positioning you for something greater. They may require courage to step into the unknown, or faith to believe that even in the midst of uncertainty, God is leading you to something good. When God's favor is at work in your life, these supernatural opportunities are like breadcrumbs leading you to your destiny. They are designed to align you with God's perfect plan, moving you closer to the purpose he has for you. Sometimes they will challenge you to grow, to stretch beyond your comfort zone, or to take risks that might feel uncomfortable. But if you trust that God is opening the doors, you will find that these opportunities often lead to breakthroughs that would have been impossible without his intervention. The key to recognizing and embracing these supernatural opportunities is being spiritually aware. When you align with God's will, when your heart is attuned to his voice, you will begin to see opportunities that others may overlook. You will be more aware of the signs, the people, and the moments where God is leading you to the next level. It requires not only an openness to God's direction, but also a readiness to act when those doors open. Supernatural opportunities don't wait forever. They require you to step through them when the time is right. Supernatural opportunities often bring with them the power to propel you into the next phase of your life, even if you feel unprepared. You might be called into situations that challenge your abilities. But when God is behind the opportunity, he equips you for what's ahead. It's as if he is preparing you not only with the opportunities, but also with the strength and resources you need to succeed. What would have seemed impossible on your own becomes possible because of the favor of God resting on you. Supernatural opportunities are one of the clearest signs that God's favor is upon you. They are the moments when you know without a doubt that something beyond your own efforts and planning is at work. These opportunities are gifts that show you that God is actively involved in your life, opening doors that lead to your purpose and pushing you forward into a future that is far greater than you could have imagined. The key is to stay alert, walk in faith, and trust that when God opens a door, he's inviting you to step into something extraordinary. Uncommon connections are another powerful sign of God's favor in your life. These are the people who come into your path at just the right time, seemingly out of nowhere, and yet their presence has a profound impact on your journey. These connections are not random or by chance. They are divine appointments. God brings people into your life who can help you grow, guide you, open doors for you, and sometimes even challenge you to become a better version of yourself. These uncommon connections are often people who see something in you that you might not even see in yourself. They might have the wisdom, experience, or resources to help you move forward in ways you couldn't have imagined. Maybe it's a mentor who takes you under their wing and provides valuable guidance, or a colleague who offers you an opportunity you would never have on your own. These relationships are not based on surface level interactions, but are often deep, purposeful, and transformational. What makes these connections uncommon is the way they stand out in your life. They are people who cross your path when you need them most, and their influence is significant. You may not have been looking for these relationships, but God, in his favor, places them at the right moment to advance his purpose for you. It might be people you would never have expected. Someone from a different background, a person with skills and insights that complement yours, or someone who challenges your thinking and helps you grow spiritually, emotionally, or professionally. God orchestrates these relationships to push you closer to your destiny. These uncommon connections often come in the form of divine intersections. Moments when two paths cross in a way that neither person could have predicted. It could be a chance meeting at an event, an introduction through a mutual friend, or a conversation that leads to something bigger. While some might chalk it up to coincidence, a person with faith will recognize the hand of God at work. These relationships often happen when you least expect them, but have the greatest impact when you need them most. In some cases, these connections don't always appear to benefit you immediately. At first, they may seem like simple acquaintances or casual interactions. But as you continue to trust God, you begin to see how these relationships develop and unfold over time. They open doors to new opportunities, provide wisdom and insight, and may even become lifelong partnerships that shape your future in significant ways. God often uses people to reveal his favor in your life, and these connections become the bridge between where you are and where he's taking you. Uncommon connections also often have a catalytic effect. Sometimes just meeting the right person can trigger a series of events that move you closer to your purpose. These relationships can push you out of your comfort zone, encourage you to take risks, and give you the support you need to pursue dreams you once thought were out of reach. They are often the key to unlocking doors and opportunities that would have remained closed without their influence. What's important is that you recognize these relationships as part of God's favor. When you see these uncommon connections for what they truly are, you become more open to the possibilities they bring. You stop seeing people as mere acquaintances and start recognizing them as divine partnerships placed in your life for a reason. Being intentional about these relationships and nurturing them with gratitude and trust will allow you to fully embrace the favor God has sent through them. Uncommon connections, therefore, are not just about meeting people for personal gain, but about understanding that God has a larger plan in mind. These relationships are designed to propel you forward, to sharpen you, and to equip you for what's ahead. By embracing and cultivating these connections, you position yourself in a place where God can use people to bring you closer to His perfect will for your life. And just as these uncommon connections shape your journey, you too become a part of someone else's divine connection, blessing them in ways only God can orchestrate. One of the most powerful and profound signs of God's favor is when it becomes evident in times of trouble. When difficulties arise and challenges seem insurmountable, God's favor is the unmistakable presence that surrounds you, protecting you and guiding you through the storm. It's in these moments that you can clearly see the difference between facing life's hardships alone and having God's favor walk alongside you. Favor in times of trouble doesn't necessarily mean that the challenges disappear immediately, or that life becomes free from hardship. In fact, you may still face struggles, obstacles, and moments of uncertainty. But God's favor is revealed in how He sustains you, how He strengthens you, and how, even in the midst of difficulty, you are able to find peace, hope, and direction. It's like a shield that protects your heart from being overwhelmed by the storm. While the storm might rage around you, God's favor helps you stand firm, unshaken by the forces that try to pull you under. Sometimes favor in trouble shows up as an inexplicable sense of peace. You may be facing a health crisis, a financial setback, or relational turmoil, and yet, in the middle of it all, you feel a calm assurance that surpasses understanding. It's the kind of peace that doesn't make sense in the natural, but is a deep knowing that God is with you and that He will bring you through this. It's as if God has wrapped His arms around you, and no matter how turbulent the waves are, you know He's there to carry you through. Other times, God's favor in trouble manifests as a way being made where there seems to be no way. Perhaps you find yourself in a situation that looks impossible, and yet suddenly opportunities begin to open up that you never expected. When you are faced with a challenge that seems insurmountable, favor often comes in the form of unexpected solutions, divine wisdom, or people who step in at just the right time to offer assistance or insight. What seemed like a roadblock becomes an opportunity for God to show His hand in a mighty way, and you come out of the trouble not only unscathed, but stronger and more equipped for what lies ahead. God's favor in times of trouble often brings a deep transformation. In the midst of difficulty, God is refining you, shaping your character, and preparing you for greater things. He may not remove the trouble immediately, but He will use it to bring out the best in you. You may come out of the challenge with a greater sense of resilience, wisdom, and faith. These trials, while difficult, become the very means through which God strengthens you and deepens your trust in Him. In the process, His favor becomes a tool for spiritual growth and a testimony of His goodness and faithfulness. In some instances, favor in trouble is seen in how God opens your eyes to the support system around you. You may find people who stand by you in your time of need, friends, family, or even strangers who step in and offer the help you didn't even know you needed. These are signs of God's favor working through others, showing you that you are not alone, and that even in the most challenging moments, God is orchestrating connections that will carry you through. Favor in trouble also helps you find the lessons and the purpose hidden within the adversity. God does not waste pain or hardship. What seems like a setback can be the very thing that propels you into the next season of growth, ministry, or success. His favor doesn't mean that you won't face hardship, but it assures you that those hardships are never without purpose. You may not see the full picture in a moment, But as you look back, you will recognize how God's favor worked through your trouble to bring about something greater. Favor in times of trouble is a reminder that no matter how tough the circumstances are, God's presence and provision never fail. It's an assurance that even in the darkest moments, He is at work using your trouble to shape you, protect you, and propel you toward His intended purpose for your life. When you look back, you'll see that His favor was not only with you in the calm times, but was most evident in your hardest seasons, guiding you through, making a way, and bringing you out stronger than before. To truly experience the fullness of God's favor in your life, it is not enough simply to recognize that it exists. It is essential that you also learn how to respond to it and actively walk in it. Recognition, response, and walking in favor are all interconnected processes that empower you to live in the fullness of what God has for you. Recognizing favor is the first step, and this requires a shift in perspective. It's about opening your eyes to see the subtle ways in which God is working in your life, even when things aren't going according to your plan. Recognition is not just about identifying the blessings that come your way. It's about understanding that these blessings are not random, but are the manifestations of God's grace. It's learning to see the opportunities, relationships, and moments of peace as God's hand at work. When you recognize His favor, you begin to see life differently through a lens of gratitude and expectation. The more you recognize it, the more you are able to acknowledge that you are not walking alone and that God is actively involved in every area of your life. Recognition alone is not enough. The second key step is how you respond to favor. Responding to God's favor requires humility and trust. When you recognize His favor, you must respond with gratitude, acknowledging that these blessings are gifts, not something you deserve based on your own merit. It is in your response that your heart is truly aligned with God's will. Gratitude is a powerful response. It keeps you grounded and focused on what truly matters. When you acknowledge God's favor with a thankful heart, you open the door for even more of His blessings to flow. At the same time, responding to God's favor also means being obedient. When God places favor in your life, He often asks you to steward it well, to use it not only for your benefit, but for the benefit of others and for His kingdom. Responding to favor means walking in obedience, trusting that God knows what's best for you and will lead you through the process. The final step is walking in favor. This is where faith meets action. Walking in favor means stepping out in confidence, knowing that God is with you and that His favor is upon you. It's about trusting Him to open doors and make a way even when the path is unclear. Walking in favor means aligning your life with God's purposes and not allowing fear or doubt to deter you from the opportunities He has placed before you. It's taking risks, stepping into the unknown and following the guidance of the Holy Spirit, even when you don't know exactly how things will turn out. When you walk in favor, you don't just wait for things to happen. You actively move forward, confident in the knowledge that God is behind you, paving the way and equipping you with everything you need to succeed. As you walk in God's favor, it is important to remember that walking in favor is not always smooth sailing. There will still be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But walking in favor means carrying a mindset of victory and resilience, knowing that even when difficulties arise, God is still at work in your life. It means trusting that the favor you've recognized and responded to will sustain you through the trials. When you walk in favor, you walk with the assurance that no matter what happens, God is in control and will provide what you need in every season. Recognizing, responding to, and walking in favor are not isolated actions. They are part of a continuous cycle that builds upon itself. As you recognize God's favor, you will naturally respond with gratitude and obedience. And as you walk in favor, your life will become a testimony to God's goodness. This cycle deepens your relationship with God, strengthens your faith, and positions you to receive even more of His favor in the future. When you learn to recognize His favor, respond to it with a heart of gratitude, and walk confidently in it, you will see God move in extraordinary ways, guiding you toward your purpose, opening doors, and blessing you in ways that go beyond what you could ever imagine. As we come to the close of this message, I want to remind you that God's favor is not a distant or abstract concept. It is a tangible, life-transforming force that is actively at work in your life. Each sign of favor, whether it's supernatural opportunities, uncommon connections, or favor in times of trouble, reveals the truth that God is intimately involved in your journey. He has positioned you for greatness, equipped you with everything you need, and extended His grace to open doors that no one can shut. But recognizing, responding, and walking in favor are the keys that unlock the fullness of what God has for you. When you recognize His favor, you begin to see the world through a new lens, one of possibility, gratitude, and expectation. When you respond with humility and obedience, you align yourself with His will and position yourself to receive even more. And when you walk confidently in His favor, you step into the purpose He has for your life with boldness, trusting that He is always with you. Favor is not about what you can earn or deserve. It is about what God has already chosen to give you, and He is not withholding any good thing from you. His favor is abundant, it is overflowing, and it is for you. So I encourage you today, recognize the favor already in your life. Respond to it with faith, gratitude, and obedience. You are favored, you are chosen, and your best days are ahead. Don't just wait for favor to happen. Actively walk in it and watch God work in miraculous ways. Your destiny is calling, and God's favor will take you there.